sure I can see the chat. That'd be helpful.
Did you say we're live?
We are live.
Chits.
Stop that, you.
That's how you know it's a good stream. Somebody in the first like 20 seconds.
So that's not gonna. You're not gonna run out of power, are you?
Is the first word.
That's true.
It's a term of endearment.
It's a term of endearment. All right. So, in this 14th tale, Mustering of Power, it is the 19th day of Jovos in the year of Kalis 1002. It has been a long time. Get that out of your system. It has been 3 months since we've last seen our heroes of House SupQit'aH and their loyal warriors. And we are about to look into their affairs and plans, as they have cemented themselves as a proper great house of the Empire. And not just any great house, but a great house that has a seat on the High Council of the Klingon Empire. So their foes were once on a sector level, a mere 3 rival houses. Now they battle with forces that could bring down even the Empire. Hello, everybody. Probably should have done that first when I did the thing, but that's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So, check in within the Palace SupQit'aH, a grand structure in the capital, in the Bemoth Central City. A grand testament built out of the ashes of destruction and treachery, with many soaring buildings and grand statues honoring great warriors and martial prowess. In the hall, actually more importantly, in this case, Hod Oda Jo SupQit'aH, the head of the household, holds court in his palace with his cousin La Keldar, the War Master of Rasa and member of House Rasa, La Tarkin, his cousin and High Council representative, his chosen representative to the High Council, Representative Kargan, and of course the House Lore Singer Sasir. La Hona is on a relative of SupQit'aH, of House SupQit'aH, I should say, is currently on assignment by order of the Klingon Defense Force, so he is unable to attend this meeting since the orders of command surpass petty house matters, as it is said in the regulations. Even a great house must attend to the orders of command unless they feel they can battle against the Chancellor and challenge him for command. Which, we're not there yet, but
which we also shouldn't, because we're allied with the Chancellor. Yep.
Who knew that? No. Anyone who watched last time? No. But yes. To catch all of you up, likewise, because I want to say Chancellor Gowron, because Chancellor Martok was actually given news of the death of his name, of Torg. Torg's adoptive father in Starfleet, a Starfleet admiral, was also informed. So because of that, you actually have gotten some updates in thanks for what has happened to the one ship that House SupQit'aH really cares about. And that is the USS Kismet, because they are still, as far as the Klingon Defense Force is concerned, a suspect in the planetfall disaster. The Klingon side of it has largely been, is still being, a lot of the immediate actors in the sector have been hit, but there is, House SupQit'aH, Bakura? Telpak. House Telpak is still, Bakara is the lady, right? Lady Bakara of House Telpak is still investigating, and she actually went to, and with the evidence that she now has, she's actually seeking out the Kismet herself, because she needs to know their side, the Starfleet side of the story, because she thinks that this goes deeper than what even SupQit'aH has been able to uncover. Something that goes out across the Empire, but that is not SupQit'aH's immediate concern, because you still have to gather your own forces together and gather your own tasks together. Because basically, Telpak has still on a continuing mission by the High Council to investigate the planetfall disaster of Amov, or planetfall attack is what some people are calling it, but more generally the planetfall disaster. So what has happened as far as the Kismet's concerned of the 10th Expeditionary Fleet? It had in recent news. It was Captain Harmon Grennan of Starfleet was captured and was being brought to Kronos, but your ally, Lady Bakara, found out. Friend. Ally is a strong word, I think. I don't think you're allied with House Telpak at the moment. He said, not sure of himself.
Oda a favor.
That's what it is. She was worried that she wanted to talk to him before he got there, and then she learned that he wasn't just being taken to Kronos, he's going to be taken to Kronos and given the Duras treatment. Basically, he would just disappear somewhere. So she, along with the aid of the USS Kismet, broke out Captain Grennan, and the Kismet retreated with him, and the reason she allowed this is because she was an assassin had nearly killed Lady Bakara while she was aboard the Kismet and trying to get him, trying to sort this all out. The doctor of the Kismet, Dr. Efrix, managed to save her life both her hearts basically were shot out. And they basically, the doctor grabbed one of her bodyguard's hearts and transplanted it into her, so she had something. And she lived, so in exchange for her life being saved, she let the Kismet flee, which that's gotten Bakara in some trouble. So she's not super popular at court right now, and until she's in the company of another suspect of the planetfall disaster, she's not welcome on Kronos, to put it mildly. Any other news you need to know about the Federation? And more recently than that, there's been a lot of movement of Klingon and Romulan and Starfleet ships near the Shackleton Expanse. Like a lot of people are leaving, and it's very easy for you guys to catch on to this because the Beaumont sector is basically one of the frontier sectors in the Shackleton frontier. I mean, the Federation's between you and the Shackleton, but you're in that direction. You're a lot closer to the action than, say, another house would be. So there are Klingon houses, not of yours, that are heading up that way. There are Romulan ships you've heard of, Starfleet ships you've heard of. Some sort of build-ups going on over there. To what end, you're not sure yet. And Starfleet isn't really saying that they're doing anything special, other than they're shifting their resources around. Which, who knows? But yes, with that update in mind,
who attempted to kill Bakara?
That is yet to be seen. That's part of what Bakara is looking into. is who was after her. And she would have gotten the Kismet to help her investigate, but if they stayed in Klingon space any longer, they would have lost their captain, and she knew it. So she's like, you need to go away. I'll get on my ship, and I'll start investigating who did this. But it's both the Kismet and Bakara suspect that whoever's after her is trying to kill Grennan to hide what he would testify to. But she needs to find a way to figure out who that is before she dares try to get him in. Because if she just brings him in to Kronos, he may just get murdered on the street for some random reason, and she won't know who did it. But during all this, House SupQit'aH was able... Thanks, Pillsbury. We'll definitely have the YouTube stuff put up. The VODs will be up. Thanks. Yes. What am I forgetting? Not this. Did I have... Alright, so the Lord Singer Sasir calls the audience chamber to order as the four of them, as herself and your four loyals, stand in the pit. Various loyal Klingons who are supposed to be here, both military and civil, are present in the palace, along with various laborer servants to pour out the blood wine and serve fresh gach to anyone who wants it. Some are coming and going to... Some even come down to the pit, since you're not here... You're not in the pit of punishment or judgment, you're in the pit in audience. So they kind of... servants actually come down to check on you if you need something to drink or something to eat. Oda actually would have his cook, like, right there. In case the Zhou feels peckish and wants something in particular, his personal cook can rush off and go do it.
Peckish is not what I would call the correct Zhou. And outright fiendish for food.
He does love his yamak sauce.
Zhou Oda, says Lord Singer Sasir. I report to you the findings that we have so far on the status of your house and of your sector. At present, we have unpeered dominion over some of the best warriors of the Empire and some of the best training of the Empire when it comes to the training of its warriors in battle, in ground, and aboard ship. Due to the advances of House Rasa under your leadership, we also have a unique scientific understanding of what has now been deemed Rasa-type cloaking technology. The details of which are known to you and those you share, and none else. However, we do contest in 3 arenas of Imperial life. First, our entry into the halls of Kronos in the form of Representative Kargan, she nods it to him, puts us in contest for the games and battles of warlords. Our alliance with House Martok has dressed us for battle in that arena. Due to the end of our civil conflict and the treason houses, we now have full control of our shipbuilding facilities And already many ships, many birds of prey, and the Vorcha you ordered have been built. On a final note, there is one arena I wish to request us to enter, if you would hear it.
Speak, Lord Singer.
I have served this house, and as Lorsinger, been gracious, have accepted the judgment of my betters, and accepted the glory of those warriors who fight for House SupQit'aH. However, I believe that a new philosophy can be born of the new change in leadership and the new changes of power and of the influence you now wield. I believe that I can gather loyalists of the traitor house that shall be named, and I wish to begin a grand study of old and new texts of the Klingon faith and philosophy texts, in the hopes of spreading the virtues of the legendary SupQit'aH across the Empire. As great as Kahless is and forever will be, I believe that SupQit'aH's teachings should be held in the same regard and put in the same arena of ideas as him. I also would like to request the aid of alien forces from wherever will bend knee as I have bent knee, for whoever will be our friend as I am your friend. Understand that this may, to all of you, she looks around, sound like an academic exercise, but this is the sort of battle a lore singer fights. Normally, my job is to protect our history, our songs, to remember every warrior that falls, and remember every warrior that betrays us. And if any should try to challenge that, then I am to remind you of those challenges, and to tell you the truth. Or tell you your favorite drinking song. She smiles and some Klingon finally chuckle because she's being a little dour. So people are trying to. When Kargan kind of raises his hand a little, it doesn't raise his hand, but gives her a look and steps forward a little bit. It's sort of a silent gesture of "I want to speak," and Cecile immediately stops, and she kind of bows her head because you have you outrank her.
This is an honorable undertaking, and I want you to know that you have my support in doing this, and I take full responsibility for the outcome. A lore singer shouldn't have to do this alone, and as a representative of the High Council, you have my blessing. He steps back.
Cecile nods her head.
Oh. Indeed, this does sound like a glorious campaign. Mark you, it also sounds like a campaign that will win us as many enemies as friends, or do I misread the situation?
The traditionalists of Kahless protect his word and his deeds. His songs are sacred. But they mistake new songs as a diminishment of Kahless, or as I contend that Klingons, all Klingons, can make all Klingons great. And those willing to serve the Empire can do so as well, and enjoy the glory of the Empire. There are many who even object to my presence as a lore singer. There are many who object to any alien serving in the Empire outside of being a subject species. We will be fighting against tradition. We'll be fighting against history. And we will be fighting to change the very great songs and sacred texts of the Empire.
Indeed, a worthy cause. And Loda kind of looks up and around at the gathered Klingons. For does one of the dictates of our house not state that we shall be bound not by tradition, but by honor? And to me, this seems a most honorable undertaking. As to recruiting those who are not Klingons, but who would willingly serve and to place their lives in the hands of SupQuit'aH and the rulers of its house. While we worked diligently and well to rid ourselves of the need for the mercenaries hired by the traitor Gamola, there's a difference between a mercenary and one who willingly and well serves, such as yourself, Sasir. And well do I recall that those who have doubted you have often paid the price of such doubt on the very field of battle. Permission is granted for you to recruit those who wish to join SupQuit'aH and to serve loyally, and become friends of the House and of the Empire. This can only serve to strengthen us in all levels. You shall have the support and aid of the House and of its Joe in this undertaking.
She bows her head. Your power and generosity are great, Joe. Tasir nods to Kargan.
He pulls the bat'leth from its sheath on his back and holds it up high. This is my great-great-grandfather's bat'leth. He earned this when he joined our house many years ago. He was not of Klingon descent, but Andorian. And much like our new allies, they too will be House SupQuit'aH. Kapla, lore singer. May honor be with you, and may our house grow stronger.
The statues in the Fort of the Fallen are not all of Klingons, but of the many friends of the house who have served since SupQuit'aH's time itself. Long has this house treasured such loyal friends, and long will we do so. Now, what else to report?
I speak now of the enemies that we face. According to reports both from the Klingon Defense Force and the House security officers, it is believed... Oh, and without any disrespect, House Telpak has reported as well that there is... She takes a moment. There is a suspected conspiracy behind the planetfall disaster. Not just of your rival, those once traitor houses, but across the quadrant. It is believed that conspirators Romulan, Starfleet, and Klingon were involved in the disaster. Worse yet, the disaster was part of a larger machination, a larger ploy. We know of 3 major suspects that could be that would give insight into the conspiracy. Despite the destruction of their ships, the loyalists of the house that shan't be named still linger and bite in the shadows. And what few relatives of that dead line remain, they will have information that we need. In the Klingons' empire, there is little other lead in that regard until House SupQit'aH is able to share their findings regarding that. The Romulan suspect is the family of Vetham, a commander of the Romulan Star Empire's fleets, who has floated accusations in Romulan courts that the Rasa-type cloaking technology is actually of Romulan make. She looks at Tarkin, and I have not been able to ask Jo Rasa, nor would I be so presumptuous to accuse a house leader. But perhaps a War Master may have better rank and luck in that information. Finally... Oh, go ahead.
Saying, well, you know my loyalty and Rasa's loyalty to SupQit'aH. We shall assist where we can and provide information. I can assure you that Rasa will toe the line.
And how do these accusations in the Romulan Praetorate relate to the planetfall disaster? How is this Vetham a suspect?
According to Defense Intelligence, it is believed that the Rasa-type cloaking technology shares remarkable similarities to the Vetham-type cloaking technology. Now, whether we gloriously stole their intelligence and gained what they were unable to build, or they stole from us, either scenario requires our intelligence and their intelligence to be deeply entwined. It is my belief that Rasa and Vetham have already been in battle in the shadows, if not openly. Thankfully for the Empire, or not thankfully, depending who you ask, the Romulan Senate is unwilling to wage war over the topic, since the evidence is as meager as we have. But it is my experience that historically, when one bit of information is that closely tied to another, there is no coincidence, only destiny and providence.
Very well. And the third suspect?
The Starfleet Admiral Azalon Shishashrir, an Andorian admiral who is suspected to be an influential intelligence officer whose family and clan have long been rivals of House SupQit'aH, whose intelligence officers have long countered our warriors, and who have long, in ancient words, wished your blood dead. Although now Shishashrir is in Starfleet uniform, I can say with confidence that Andorians do not forget family feuds. Do not forget ancient promises. And the fact that this admiral has risen so far in rank, and suddenly she is being given more power and more influence within Starfleet and the Federation, while we suffered great losses at the same time, I suspect that her feud is ascended to that of actually drawing blood for once. Not since the Klingon War have SupQuit'aH and SupQuit'aH lines been able to fight each other in direct battle. Now I suspect this battle wages again, and the first shot was the planet was B'Math Station. You notice in the crowd that there is you actually notice there is a Starfleet observer in the room. Because sometimes they come by. No one of high rank, just some lieutenant who decided to show up and catch a meeting. You just kind of shrink him down a bit. Just kind of up there, and a lot of Klingons he blended into the crowd pretty well for a bit until just then, and now everyone's looking at the Starfleet uniform, and that lieutenant looks very uncomfortable with his situation all of a sudden.
Does Oda know of the history behind this blood feud between SupQuit'aH and SupQuit'aH lines?
Insight plus command difficulty 1.
Right. I'll give you a threat for bold for some momentum, and because you had to spend some threat there, and I feel sorry for you. I don't think any of my focuses will apply here.
I have perpetually dirty glasses.
Fortunately, that's why I'm rolling bold. There we go. So 2 momentum.
2 momentum generated. It's a story. It's a story that this is like your grandfather's time. Your father's time. Like and even they held that by the time your father came to power, that battle was remembered but wasn't talked about because you weren't shooting at each other anymore, so you kind of stopped caring. But you've heard of it. Your father would told you old war stories that grandfather and your great-grandfather had with SupQuit'aH family members. It's not something that's widely circulated, but it's something that people of SupQuit'aH blood can sometimes hear about from their own family. And usually the battles aren't in, because you made the roll, most of the battles aren't in space. They're usually person-to-person fighting. Like, somehow, some way, SupQuit'aH forces will find ways to meet up with SupQuit'aH forces in either board it. They're one of the few people who would actually go over to a Klingon ship and board it. Just so they have a chance to take out one of their family ice picks and go take SupQuit'aH blood with it. Much to Starfleet's annoyance.
Right. So an ancient feud rises not just between houses, but between empires. This is a line we must walk carefully, and for SupQuit'aH must wage no wars that do not benefit the Empire. This Admiral Azalon, do we know her current posting? Or perhaps, Lieutenant, you might tell us.
The lieutenant in the back, no, at first he doesn't clue in, but he notices you didn't say "soh." You purposely use the a Federation word for lieutenant, and all the Klingons look back at him. It takes him a second to realize because his universal translator doesn't pick up the difference, so he's kind of like, "Uh-oh," and Lord Singer kind of turns and stares at him. It is rude to stay sitting when the Zhou is speaking to you. Lieutenant. And the guy kind of just bolts upright and kind of stands there. Joe, I don't know the movements of admirals. I'm here on leave. I'm not sure I'd be able to tell you that, Joe. He bows kind of awkwardly, and Cecile just kind of continues glaring at him, daring him to sit down. He doesn't.
Well enough. And awkwardly but honorably spoken.
Should I still be here for this? Should I leave, or am I gonna die?
The Joe said that you were honorable in your answer. You may stay.
We will say nothing here that we would not say under the naked stars.
Oh, that's good. Good. Hi there. Hello.
Some blood wine for the lieutenant, please.
Someone comes by. No. He starts saying no, and this is here glares at him still. He's like, sure, thanks, thank you, thanks. And he holds the thing like it's about to set him on fire. But he's holding it. He then very gingerly sips at it.
Much more that we can do beyond what we are already doing about the snakes of the nameless house. The discommoded ones that still bite from the shadows. However, Tarkin learned about this, these accusations of this Vetham about House Ross's cloaking device.
I will find out what I can from Rasa. She will tell me the truth. Or what is her source of for this technology. I will find out and report to you.
Kargan, see what you can learn through your connections in the High Council and the Intelligence Service about the movements of this Azalon. Do you do the same, Cecile? And all security officers here as well.
I will do my utmost, Joe.
Your orders heard, Joe.
Are there other matters that require the attention of this council?
Not at this time, Joe. I have nothing further to report.
Council to be closed. Long live SupQuit'aH, and long live the Empire! Kapla!
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 Knowing that he can leave, the Starfleet officer very quickly makes his exit.
And Kargan finally laughs at the
Oda will hand off his cloak of office to the waiting servant.
And some Klingons begin following the officer. Some warriors.
Be kind.
Gesture to my command staff, my inner council, to follow me to the briefing room or the war room, whatever we call it.
War room.
The inner council chamber.
Copy. To the war room, if I can find it. New scene, since you're leaving the court. Hona's not here. Oop. I did pull you over. I did, yes. So in time, all of you make your way to the war room, a more private chamber for the strategic plans of the house.
Tarkin.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, sure. This is of concern that Rasa is accused of such. She did swear her fealty.
I do not see that she's broken her fealty, even if she has been able to steal technology from the Romulans. Such raids are not uncommon in our history. However, if she and this Vetham have been waging some sort of intelligence and technological espionage campaign for some time, as might be suggested, she may well have intelligence that we might find vital going forward.
I guess I will ask her directly. But she should have informed us of such. But perhaps it's not her way. It is her secrets that she holds dear, and she has her ways.
Knowing Rasa, she's probably not paying all that much attention to the activities of our operatives, merely the data that they bring her.
Yes, a means to an end. I will locate her position. I assume she is in Yovbod, continuing overseeing the construction there, development technology.
Zasir, do you truly believe this Starfleet admiral, despite generational feuds between our houses, would be using her position in Starfleet to prosecute such a feud? It is unlike the Starfleet officers, in my experience.
What I didn't say in court, Joe, is that since it is a name not easily said in open company, Martox, Lorsinger, and I were able to speak a bit, and we were able to confirm what I've always suspected. This Admiral Azalon is a Section 31 mastermind. As far as that faction of the Federation is concerned, anything they consider a existential threat to the Federation is desired as worthy of no mercy, or any sense of honor, frankly. I suspect this Azalon has let her vengeance overcome her duty. There's even word that this, supposedly she's even sent her adoptive son, it's a Tellarite name, Bragg Pend. He's a commander aboard the Kismet. He's been known to have engaged in operations in Imperial space. Not against House SupQit'aH, as far as either myself or Martox Lorsinger can determine. Our histories don't show him as a marked man, but a man worth noting if he shows up on our world. Along with any of her relatives. Any of his relatives or her family.
Let us see what we can find out about this Commander End. And get this information out to our security and intelligence forces. If he does attempt a penetration, perhaps forewarned is forearmed. And even if she is keeping a large part of her operations in the black, a full admiral of Starfleet cannot move around secretly very easily. We need to find out where she is, where her base of operations is.
That'll require some diplomatic and strategic contact with our Starfleet strategic officers, and they will not be too keen on sharing that information.
Gargan, I'll leave that in your capable hands.
Any diplomacy you can leave to me.
What do we know of this lieutenant from the Federation who was in open court?
They can't hold their blood back.
That's a recent security role. Using your influence plus reputation to assist. House SupQuit'aH. So, to look this up is a recent security role, difficulty 2, assisted by House SupQuit'aH's influence plus reputation. You have the advantage that you're doing this research from the Palace SupQuit'aH, so if you succeed, you have bonus 4 momentum to spend on it. On that roll.
I have a 13. Anyone have any higher?
Mine is just 12.
I have 13, but bold security.
That's better.
Can I get an assist?
Sure.
Okay. I'll give you a threat for the third die in bold security. Not 13 dice. Don't think I have any focuses that will apply though. Ooh.
Does Klingon politics apply?
I'm gonna say no.
Assistance.
You can assist if you want, Tarkin.
Would research as a focus apply?
Research, I take. Yep.
I have already assisted.
Okay.
And here's the house. Oop. Here's the house. Huh, well, we all did very well.
Nice.
So 3 momentum gained, I think. Yeah.
Plus whatever Tarkin generates.
I think we already got an assist from Kargan there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got 5 momentum in the pool plus 4 bonus momentum from equality.
So looking up the officer in question. Whoops, wrong page. Oh, multiple people could assist. Actually, that's one thing I was pointing out because you're doing this from your war room.
Then I guess Tarkin should assist. Pantera was apologizing for steamrolling.
Yeah, when you're in the war room like this, you guys can generally assist each other. Unless it's a long-term task, like you're doing a strategic move or an extended task, then that person's tied. If you're doing that, then you're tied into that action for the next while. This is just you guys looking stuff up on computers. And this palace is more than equipped. Like, if you guys are like, oh, we don't have enough consoles, with a snap of Otis' fingers, another console will be brought into the room and plugged in. Like, you are not hurting for resources while you're in the palace, thankfully. If you guys built a small fortress, I'd be a little more mean to you. Go like, well, you're basically in a bunker.
Right.
I'll be right back.
Sure.
So we've got 4 bonus momentum we can use for some information spins. So, do I have any further questions to root out more?
Oh, one bit of information.
Oh.
What the hell's that station called? Oh, duh. So it is, the file pulls up that this is Lieutenant Garrison Westcott. He's an engineering officer who's currently on leave, as he said. He's human, and he is on assignment to Narendra Station. Narendra Station is a bridging starbase between on the Shackleton Expanse side of the Federation.
And Narendra Station is kind of like a neutral ground, right?
It's a joint Klingon Starfleet operation, isn't it?
It's where they're supposed to meet. It's where Klingons and Federation are supposed to meet to discuss stuff.
Right.
But it's a Starfleet starbase, but it's the one that's dedicated toward to speaking with the Empire and stuff. That's where the liaison officer is.
Okay. I would like to spend a momentum to ask the question, why on his leave did he decide to come to the Moth 2?
What they said. So Westcott's reason, Westcott was coming to observe the buildings and architecture of the palace and the temple and the new space station. So he's kind of going on a architecture tour.
Busman's holiday as an engineer.
Yeah. That's the stated reason, because he had to tell the KDF what he was doing. He can't just go wherever. It's like, you're not a citizen. You need to tell us why you're here.
Is there anything in his background that we can access that might indicate that he's working for Starfleet intelligence?
For a momentum, I'll answer that.
Yeah, so spend another of the bonus.
He is not working for intelligence. He's not working for Starfleet intelligence, I should say.
Okay. Has he been paying attention to anything in particular, spending time anywhere in particular, asking questions about, etc., while he's been on Bomoth 2 and enjoying the architecture?
Yes. He spent a lot of time on the heck's it called? I wrote it down earlier and everything. Space Fortress Rourke, and he's been asking a lot about its design, what type it is. It's basically its specifications, which on its own wouldn't necessarily be tactical, but because he's not focusing on just the tactical stuff. But then again, having a wide specification of a major military facility is that could be trouble.
Has he actually been on the station, or has he just been asking about it? Because I feel like, I mean, maybe because he's an engineer, but I don't feel like we would let a foreigner on a station that's under construction.
He was allowed because he got permission because Starfleet is your ally. So some of the engineers up there were perfectly. He's like, hey, can I come aboard? They're like, you know what, we could use extra help. He wasn't allowed anywhere classified, but he was aboard station asking around among the engineers, and he gave some Starfleet engineering insights on how to fix this, how to build that, how to use biogel packs more efficiently, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Could be completely innocent. Certainly sounds like the usual meddling of a Starfleet engineer.
Joe, I would request permission to meet him next time he attempts to enter Station Rurik.
Agreed. See what you can find. Befriend him if possible. We still have one bonus momentum if anybody's got another question or about this guy. I've got one if nobody else does. Does he have any connection in his professional career with Azalon?
I will answer that question. Yes. He served on a ship with her when she was a captain. He was an ensign back a few years ago.
And
He's looking up info.
hold.
Please hold for information.
No, that was it. He was a sorry, I must have misspoke there. He was an engineering ensign on a ship that Aslan was a captain of years ago.
Oh.
So he served with her. This guy hasn't exactly had a... Although I will note that the fact that it's been years and he made it only from ensign to senior lieutenant, that's really slow progression. So usually you get to lieutenant commander and then you go off to do some assignment or something, but...
Could be nothing, but it might well be worth our time finding out more about this Lieutenant Keldar.
I just found it odd to have a human in court with us.
And actually, I can tell you guys... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I can tell you guys for free, aliens like to... They do like to sit in on sessions. Usually not... They'll like to sit in on, like, the... big court at like Kronos or something, or on the Imperial Court sessions, or like the judicial system. Sometimes they'll come by to see the High Council meet, because that's kind of it's a tourist trap for them. Coming to a local sector governor's house, I mean, you could, and most houses don't mind, as long as you mind your manners and you respect the rule of the Zhou, and it's your life you're taking it to, but that's like me going out to a local state legislator office just to sit in. I could if I really wanted to, but it's kind of weird if I'm not from there.
It's also, I think, more odd because of the recent disaster that happened. Within a month of the Capitol being stormed in the U.S., I think that they're more cautious about people coming to visit it. So
yeah, that's why you have so much information on him. He can't get that close to a sector capital without being checked multiple times. You're like, what are you doing here? What's your purpose? And then another officer saying, what are you doing here? What's your purpose? Where are you going? You guys can actually track where he's been this whole time, because no, you don't move without us knowing where you're going. And you guys are probably extra jumpy about it for that reason.
In the meantime, Keldar, how progresses the various construction projects, both ships and structures?
I heard Corbinian typing, so...
Just informing Chad about something.
Okay, so you're not responding to that question.
No.
Everything is either on schedule or ahead of schedule, Joe.
Excellent. Is there anything else that we need to deal with here at the moment?
Well, the one thing that... It's not as important as the direct threats to the House, of course, but any efforts that the House can make toward furthering the SupQuit'aH texts would be helpful. I'm going to be busy for the most part, unless you need me, of course, Joe, speaking and conversing with the new priests of the Temple Kalis, and figuring out exactly what we're going to do, since I'm the ranking civil laborer of the Fortress of the Fallen. So I am able to speak with them. So I don't need help with that, but I will likely need any texts, information, scholars that were willing to come here, and they'll need to be vetted to ensure their security clearance, or if failing that, where I have to meet them if they can't get clearance into the Empire. Though if they don't have clearance into the Empire, I'm not entirely sure I want to speak with them, but it depends on who we find.
So SupQuit'aH's writings and philosophy have spread beyond the Imperial borders?
The Federation is, if nothing else, skilled at keeping history. Everything everyone's ever done in their site is recorded, so I'm hoping that we could reach out to our Federation allies and find someone who knows about the history of SupQuit'aH. It won't be with all the honor of your lineage, the Federation has a habit of focusing on chancellors and high counselors rather than these virtuous warriors of the Empire. But someone will have done it. And ideally, I would like to speak with somebody in the Romulan Empire as well for their perspective. But that's especially difficult because I have to speak with someone who's willing to speak with a member of court, and someone I want to be seen speaking with, frankly. As much as you are gracious, Joe, it is not seemly for a lore singer to speak with an enemy of the house. So, and there are many in the Romulan Empire that are enemies of the Empire, never mind your lineage.
Very well. Kargan, this appears once again to fall into your purview. I think you are best placed to put out a call to Federation and other scholars who study House SupQuit'aH or SupQuit'aH himself. Let us frame it as, well, as in part what it is, collecting the history and heritage of our founder and our house.
I will add it to my list. And as soon as he says that, there is frenetic scribbling heard in the distance.
Yeah, there would be. Someone's pad just beeped at them. Oh, shoot, write that down.
Now then, Bakara and Telpak are having some political difficulties at the moment. I don't think it is up to us to sort them out, since they are investigating something very important to our house. We will give Jo Telpak and her work any assistance possible, particularly within Bamoth sector, but wherever else we can influence activities within the Empire to aid her investigation.
I suggest that falls into the purview of La Keldar.
Oh, poor Keldar. He's now like Oda's go-to sector governor when I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I am currently your heir, so
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense.
I'm next in line after you, I think.
I believe that's right.
Hmm.
Let me check the house log.
I will have my staff write out the orders. Keldar, if you could see that they are properly distributed, and have our people outside of the sector to keep an eye out on opportunities to help Telpak. At this point, however, I believe we all have things we need to get to do that require us to do more than stand around a table. Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yes, Joe.
Kapla to us all.
Kapla.
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 So now, new scene as people start pouring out of the war room.
Oh, poor momentum.
This was what I was working on earlier.
Good lord.
Strategic view that covers all the assets you have, all the ships you have, and what alliances and ties that you have influence on.
Holy moly.
Downside of having so many darn ships. This is your entire fleet. Like, this is every ship you have.
Okay. And hello.
Anything that doesn't have a quality marker is considered quality 0 by default. Which actually, Temple Chaos doesn't need to be quality 0. It is. We can presume that. So, boop.
What's the quality marker in this case?
So quality marker. I'm borrowing this from the Dune, Maleficus's Dune game. One of the mechanics they have is covering assets, so more intangible, abstract things like houses or informants, even equipment to a degree. We're not going to use the equipment stuff because we have rules for that in STA. But basically, anytime you do a roll, you can, and you're using that particular asset. One, even having an asset, even a quality 0, means that it's an advantage. So think of a quality or an asset as an advantage with muscle. So the higher quality it is, the better advantage it is. So like when you guys did that roll earlier in Palace of Gitta, you guys benefited from the high quality of the palace. It's presumed that is a the only place that's nice in the Palace of Gitta, that'd be quality 5, would be the temple, the Grand Palace of Kalis on Kronos. And
what I was asking was, what signifies a quality in this case? As in, what symbol does it use?
It would be noted in the name. Oops, can you see all the names? Okay, yeah. So it'll say like Palace of Gitta Qual 4, or Fortress Station Aurora Qual 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are
yeah.
the flags and swords? I figure the in progress wrench is the ship still building, but what are the flags? Maybe are ground or non-ship installations.
They're stationary. They're places you can go to.
Okay, and what's the cross swords on the Maymok?
On the Maymok, it implies that it's, I presume it's your flag battleship.
Okay, yeah.
Although you could change that. That's just me marking which ship you guys are most likely going to be, which one Oda is likely to be flying around in.
Okay.
And this one just indicating that they're that represents your warriors in general.
So the Vorcha is complete or still under construction?
It will be complete in time for any operations you want.
Okay.
So at the time of the meeting, it wasn't, but it will be.
Okay. Cool. And this is Martok's house symbol, right?
Oops, I forgot. You guys can't see that. There you go.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll hide Hona because you can't use him at the moment. But you guys know that strategically he's in the Vermont sector. Actually, I should leave him there. We know that. We just know he's busy is all. He's just not available. He's elsewhere in the Empire. This is how I'm going to be able to keep track of where stuff is and what ships where, who's going where, who's strategically doing what.
Very fair.
And stuff with flags, usually we can't move. Like, we can't put the Palace of Gita, like, right. Uproot it and move it to Kronos. Like, no, it's here. It's not going anywhere.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
So, with the warrior SupQit'aH, could we split them up and send them other places?
Well, they count as, like, crew of the ships and everything, right?
The warriors thing represents your ground forces. Your actual planetary, your marines and your ground armies. Each of the ships would have their own crews aboard them. Even Palace of Gita has its own guard. Actually, because of a high quality, you have like an honor guard that you probably had to hand pick. That you're like, no, I trust this guy. I know his name. I know his father's name, you know. But you can actually divvy up warriors. It would take a test if you wanted to split them up in multiple places, because it's basically an advantage just to abstract the fact that you have warriors. I will note that your warrior quality for House SupQit'aH is usually a lot higher than this. It's actually very low, and that's because it usually should be about, I want to say quality 3. Hold on, I was just looking at it. I was just reading about it and I forgot about it. They should be somewhere around quality 3 or quality 4. But the problem is that because of the disaster and the Civil War, your warriors you don't have as many experienced warriors, and your army isn't as big as it normally would be. The good thing is, because you guys specialize in having great warriors, because that's one of your house's things, is that you're a warrior line, it's easier for you guys to beef that up than, say, House Rasa. House Rasa is great at making scientists and tech, not great at training warriors.
So I know in the Dune rules you can increase the quality of an asset. Have you figured out how you're going to do that here, or if we can here? Yep.
There, depending on what it is, it'll either be a one-off roll or it'll be an extended task. It just depends on how big a change you're doing.
Okay. Fair enough.
Oh, I don't need that anymore. And the author wants a ship. You already have a ship. You have a dinky little Oberth in the future.
Just like Wolfgang.
Yeah, it's all cool people are flying. So who wants to take the first shot in their mustering of power?
I have a lot of on my dossier. I might as well.
Yeah.
What do I have? I have Romulan relations, some Starfleet relations, and what more? I might have spaced out. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Cecile wanted to have some connections as well for her.
Yeah, one was putting out a call for scholars of House SupQit'aH and SupQit'aH himself and his writings and philosophies throughout the Empire and also outside the Empire, Federation, wherever. And what was the first thing we were going to have you looking at? Finding out, trying to, use your connections as a high counselor, and where you would have access to theoretically some intelligence reports or whatever to find out where this Admiral Azalon is currently posted and what she's been up to lately. Those are the biggies, I think.
Yeah. All right. Aslan seems like a pressing matter because she will be moving around. So the fresher the report, the better. So I'm gonna start with that.
Okay. I wrote her name down. I'm misspelling it. I know I am. That'll bother me. Oh, that's right. All right.
I almost my finger opening the beer.
All right. So, Representative Kargan, you are going to be trying to find out where Aslan even is.
Mm-hmm.
So she does not make that easy. So it is going to be essentially a social conflict. That's how we're resolving this particular advantage. And she would, not necessarily against you in particular, but against anyone who's trying to find her. She doesn't want anyone knowing what she's doing. For reasons that are very obvious to the Kismet game. I need her thing in here? No. So it's going to be a reasons. I should type this out so I don't forget. Reason, command, or security. Opposed. You are assisted by the influence of your house plus rep.
Have
Is there any way we can make
4
this
momentum on the board.
Thank you. Is there any way we can make this presence?
Yeah, sure, I can allow a presence. I can't think of a good reason to say no to that.
That's fair. I mean, if you open a channel to a Starfleet base, you get in the presence of a clerk. Then you just grill them until they tell you stuff. That's basically how you do things.
And right, that's what I'm looking for.
Presence command. That's 16. I'd like to spend to gain another die.
A threat or momentum?
Momentum is fine.
Remember, it's opposed, so you might want to go for another.
Oh, actually, because you're looking into her. Not
Does
20.
lieutenant help you?
The lieutenant?
Jeez.
Yeah, complication gauge increases because she's actually really. I forgot that she's actually really hard to pin down.
Yeah. The lieutenant that I was nice to in court.
You'd have to find him.
I won't go through the hassle of finding a Starfleet lieutenant. There are lots of them, and I don't know his name. Or I don't personally know his name.
The one who is in court?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just looked it up. It's Garrison Westcott.
He's gone missing.
He's gone missing?
Mm-hmm.
That's
What?
a good reason to not be able to ask him stuff. So I said I wanted 3 die. I want 4 dice now.
Momentum again.
Momentum again.
Very good.
And I'll buy some dice back. I have to use up all of them because I know how paranoid she is. Well, paranoia implies she's not in danger.
Oh, she's in danger.
Focus. Let's see here.
Of course, I know what ultimately happens to her. So. She's in the wrong damn direction.
Would Klingon politics or intimidation apply here?
You could use intimidation.
If I'm using presence, it's intimidation.
And I was going to say the normal thing I say in my Starfleet game. You could get a rep. Ding. I'm like, wait, you're Klingons. You're not supposed to be. You're not required to be polite.
So, it says here input value, discipline, yeah, the number symbol for focus. Is that what number of focus that I'm using?
No, it's if you have a focus, you put in there which the discipline number. So if your command's 4, you'd put in 4 there.
Wait, my command is 4?
Yeah, because you're using command, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So basically, whichever discipline has the focus, you is benefiting from the focus. That's the number you put in.
Right.
Yeah. You're telling
So,
the macro what your crit range is.
Yeah. So complication is 17 to 20.
I think you just need to put in 17 if I remember how it works.
Yeah.
That. And good times.
I don't think you get rerolls for this, do you, lady? You already have the complication increase for free. That doesn't come into effect. She's not talking to you. She's not shooting at you. So.
And here's the house assist.
Oh, right, her.
All right.
Thanks, agents. Thanks for helping. Wait, that's not 1, 2, 4. Five hits for her. 3, 4, 5 for you with a complication.
Do you have cautious command?
I do now.
Well played.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Since you're gonna.
I'm not sure that's how you spell it, but it is now. What do I roll?
Reroll. You can reroll one of your dice. I would recommend the 20.
I'm gonna do 4.
Oh, hey. Well, chat got to see the map briefly.
1 success.
Now that's in your crit range, so that actually counts for 2.
Oh yeah.
So that's 7 total.
All right, so you gain the momentum off that. She only got 5, so you gain 2 momentum.
Hell yeah.
Nicely done.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for your help. I am exceptionally bad at remembering the rules for this game, but I enjoy playing it.
Wait, no. 21? No, I got it backwards. 12, not 21. She is at Starbase 12, which I'll give you an idea where that is in a second. Wait, hold on. I may be doing this the hard way for no reason. Because there's there is, yep.
SB12 is a kind of mouthwash.
Is it?
Huh.
Yeah. It's on TV in Sweden a lot.
Let's go a little more.
This information is forwarded to the house.
Actually, let me give you a more direct link. But that's the link to get to it if you ever want to find it yourself, but I also have it here. And Starbase 12 is in K6, I want to say. K7.
Yeah, I see it. Up near Orion.
And for reference, you guys are at P9. So you know where she's stationed. Starbase 12 is it's in the Orion sector, and it's fairly deep into the Federation. So it's one of the core star bases, which is where a lot of more senior admirals tend to station themselves, because they are, especially since she's a full admiral, she has, rear admirals under her, like a vice admiral and rear admirals under her that she has for her operations. But you have now discovered where she is. Part of the complication you recognize is that when you ask around, you get a lot of runaround, and you get asked for certain security clearance forms, and you get told that this guy is the one who has the information. No, it's that guy. But eventually you're able to get the answer you're looking, a very simple answer to your question of, this is where she is. Like, she's going through you can tell there's active effort to prevent this information from being easily known.
Question, did I get complication?
No.
Because I have cautious command.
Yeah, because you rerolled that 20 earlier, so yeah. that complication got squashed.
I think he was just talking about the reason it was so difficult and the complication rate.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was a rules thing, not a story thing. Sorry.
Hey, little kitten.
Hey yourself. All right, so this information is forwarded to the rest of the house. Do with this what you will. If you start a war with the Federation, I'm not at home. Should we move on to
you-
something else for a little bit, and then?
Well,
circle
Odin
back?
will send back a communication asking how confident you are in the accuracy of this information.
Anything that the Starfleet tells me, I take as blatant lies, but it might be pertinent to investigate if this is the truth. It's at least a lead.
Okay.
Could I possibly figure out what kind of vessel she travels with usually?
For a moment, I'll answer that. Yep.
$10 just an Excelsior.
Yeah, the Ford America of starships, or whatever. Different system.
Every admiral worth their salt swans around in an Excelsior.
Yeah, painted in just chrome.
It's right. It's the Lincoln Continental of starships.
That's the one. Ford America is a Shadowrun reference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oops, that didn't help you. She's aboard. Her personal vessel is a Galaxy class, the USS Zephyr.
Ooh, fancy.
What?
Zephyr.
What's the name of Zephyr?
Yep.
So the USS Sapphire. Nice.
Okay. Well, you want to move on to Tarkin next?
Yeah, sure.
The Tarkin, you're going off to meet with your house leader.
Yes, we'll meet with Rasa, wherever she may be.
Not this room, but we're using the set. Boop. So you go to Yavbat, and you will be able to find her at one of in her lab on the Yavbat 2, I believe it is. You see various Klingons milling around and looking at pads and scribbling at stuff, debating with each other. Whoopsie. When you step in the room, the various Klingons kind of look up and it's the War Master. It's the War Master. And they kind of turn around and stop what they're doing to look at you as you step into the antechamber to her lab.
Where? He looks at them. Where is Rasa? I mean to speak to her.
She's in the lab, War Master.
Leave us be. He stares them down.
They back right the heck away from you because you have the authority to kill any of them for any reason you feel like, because you outrank every one of them.
Find something else to do now. He stares them down.
I'll vacate the antechamber.
He steps forward. Rasa.
You step through the double doors here, and it creaks open and creaks closed again.
We have to talk. Something
what?
that requires some privacy.
Oh. Sure, 1 second. She taps at her console. The other two Klingons go, no, we'll leave. And then a gas sprays over where a little chamber turns on where they are, and they get gassed and knocked out.
Jeez.
I don't always understand your ways, Rasa. But tell me, how did you acquire this technology, the stealth technology that you had developed?
Well, originally I started with and she begins to explain to you exactly, and in painful detail, how she figured it out. Reason plus science. Difficulty, it would be 3, but you're of the same house. You've heard her go on. Reason, science, difficulty 2.
I will give you some threat to use bold science. And so that will be 3 dice. What is this? So she's just blabbing and trying to get some meaning from it. Is that right?
You're trying to understand what she's getting at. 'Cause she's speaking in jargon and not just giving you a straight answer. She's not being evasive. She's just giving you too much information.
Oh, okay. My focus is probably research. Would that apply here?
I'll take it at a complication increase.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay.
4 successes.
4 successes.
2 momentum generated. The short story is that Rasa found out about a type of Romulan cloaking tech and saw that it wasn't really working for them. Basically, it was combining a type of dimensional phase technology. Basically, their idea was they wanted to cloak but be able to move through objects. Apparently, they heard about Starfleet doing it, and once they got mad at Starfleet about it, they decided to look it up themselves because that sounds like a neat thing to do, to be able to just phase through, doors and stuff. Unfortunately, it kept blowing up ships and killing people, so the Romulans stopped. Rasa tried to make warriors able to phase through walls because she thought that was really neat, but she lost a lot of experiments that way. Eventually, she decided just to make it a better version of a cloak, and one that could even be somewhat active even when it's not turned on, so it's kind of in a passive mode. So the short story is, yes, she did steal it she stole the original plans from the Romulans, but her version of it is a refinement of that idea specifically for Klingon starships and ship design. Like, you can't put in a Rasa type cloaking device into a ship. You need to put the whole ship into a dock and start ripping out panels and stuff and putting in new ones for it to work properly. Which she finds immensely hilarious, but is, and you've learned since the building of the first manga that, and you helped with it, that was a pain in the neck because you had to specially order certain types of hull plating and stuff. It's not practical for a massive fleet at this time until a better source of the metal she needs is sourced.
Did she mention, is it Ventium who was the counterpart at all when she was explaining that?
Vetham.
Betham.
Oh, him! Well, yes. That Vetham was kind of upset. Called me a thief, a liar, a cheat, a lazy, no-good Klingon. She waves her hand. I made sure the persons who gave the message were summarily shot and put into experimental tanks. Romulan physiology is very fascinating when you have it up close. And I have some actual live specimens. He took that a little personally. So he decided to attack some friends of mine, and then, well, he insulted friends of mine, so I had to kill his friends, and we've been at this for a bit. I don't think it's anything worth reporting, really. I mean, you know, we kill Romulans all the time. I mean, I happen to be picking on him, and he's picking on me, but, you know. He's just a commander. What can he do? What's he gonna do? Phase cloak at me? Ooh.
Well, there are concerns in terms of this, your links with Commander Vetham and how you acquire this technology. It seems that the concerns may not be founded in anything but your ways of doing things. It's not often the Klingon way, but I guess it's sometimes an effective way of getting what we need.
Hey, if our enemies are too stupid to figure out how the science works, it's up to us to make it better. Make it more Klingon. I still think we should... Oh, go ahead.
Is there anything else that you know of this Commander Vetham and their links with the Romulan Empire? What they mean to do with this technology? Have they abandoned it completely?
Oh no, he's still working on it. And oh, that's right. He said that on his father's life, all of my blood will be stained and on the steps of the Senate.
Well,
I think he wants to. I mean, this cloak technology is. I mean, he'll figure it out eventually if he can, you know, do basic quantum level math. But you know, I would love to go kill him, but I'm very busy.
Sometimes I wonder what goes on in that head, Rasa.
Well, I could tell you if you want.
Please, I don't have the time. Maybe when I'm retired and I have much more time to spend.
You never give me enough time, Uncle, ever since I explained to you exactly how you can use a disruptor and attach it to a batleth. I'm telling you, if you put the right adhesive and you hold it in, you can swing and it shoots. Okay, yes, it would burn off the tip, but I still think it would work. And you should have let me do it when I was 10. So, still mad about that.
Well, when I'm dead, you can tell me all the stories you like.
Oh, I could tell you in Stovacor. That'd be great.
I shall leave you be. Perhaps you should wake those warriors over there. Sure no other harm comes to them.
Oh, right, I should shut that off. Eventually the gas vacates and the field goes down and they don't wake up.
Tarkin will go over there and check on their vitals to see what gas she's put onto them.
Reason, medicine, difficulty 2.
Okay. Don't really have. I've got xenophysiology. Would that work here?
It would, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, stretch. Thank you, author.
Alright, 2 successes, so succeeded.
She dosed them with a neurotoxin that puts them into a coma.
Okay.
And because she didn't turn it off in time, they're actually pretty bad off. They're near death.
Oh, okay. I will try to give them assistance or get them beamed somewhere to get urgent assistance? Maybe call the medical team in here?
Whoops, don't fall over. There you go. I will call that either daring or presence plus medicine, difficulty of 3 because you're trying to help the two of them really quickly. You benefit from House Rasa, might plus reputation.
Okay. So I'll just roll mine. So daring or presence, I will do the same. So can I use xenophysiology again as a focus?
Yep. You're basically telling them what they need to bring with them for the medical team.
Okay. I might use a momentum and spend that for an additional die.
Oh, I'm out of coffee. I'm sad.
Grab a beer.
Well, I'd have to get up and go get it.
Do it.
No.
I bought some good Ethiopian coffee for tomorrow morning.
Yep. You're able to. The house. Oop. Roll that for you. Hey, get assist from the house. That's 4 successes. So you gain a momentum. Yeah. After. Did you use daring or presence?
I use daring.
Daring. So you start calling for the medicines you need, and some Rasa people start coming in and giving you the equipment you need, and you begin treating them yourself. Oop! I got dinged. Something happened. Oh my goodness. Hold on.
What the hell? I mean, what the Greethor?
Isn't Grethor more of a purgatory?
Oh. BR Jedi 26, thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated.
I think Greethor is like...
Grethor. Klingon hell.
Yeah, but it's more like the Greek underworld. It's like where the dishonored dead go and just, wander around as shades. I don't know.
Yeah, or like the Norse Hel. Just not sepia tone, but like a black and white version of the mundane world, but more like zombies.
Ugh.
Yeah, but fewer ships made of fingernails in the Klingon one. Well, you never know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yes,
it's a good ship.
La Tarkin, you're able to save these two Klingon warriors from certain death.
He wipes his brow and says, Rasa, if we are to maintain our house, we cannot see all of our warriors as being expendable like this.
Well, War Master, when you're the head of research for the house, you can make that choice.
All I advise is that you do this to our enemies and not our allies.
Well, get me more prisoners to experiment on and I will. I've run out of Romulans.
We shall see. I shall leave you to your work, Rasa.
Don't use your own subjects as experiments. Stop stabbing them, Ross. You hear her muttering behind the door.
Tarkin will report back to the jaw order. What pretty much what she said. Potentially not really one of the leads to follow.
So, what was the metal that she needs for this, for the cloaking device that there's not a lot of right now?
Oh, I misspelled that. It's going to annoy the heck out of me. Hold on. Absorbent. Sorry. Absorbent pyrosteel. Basically, it doesn't allow your energy signature to be to be vented as... It doesn't give away your energy signature as much. And the metal kind of helps it. It makes it harder for scans. Because usually what scans are looking for at long range is heat and energy in general, not the actual physical silhouette, because you're like light years away. That's not even worth trying. But this thing kind of dampens it, and when you pull down all the power, the plates make it almost impossible to find the ship.
So is the problem that we don't have a good source of a particular raw element, or is it the processing of the alloy that's the bottleneck?
It's both, in a way. You can find natural, quote-unquote, natural pyrosteel, or you can recover absorbent pyrosteel from alien cultures that have been destroyed and stuff like that. And that's kind of where she's been getting her stuff from, is from conquests that Gamola did back in the day. Regular pyrosteel is usually used in experimental stuff. It's something you can get. Absorbent pyrosteel is a particular blend, and since then it's something Rasa knows how to make, but she needs... The problem is pyrosteel isn't like Durasteel. Durasteel is an alloy that's used a lot. And so the Klingon Defense Force has tons of it. Like they have since you guys have shipyards, you guys have a lot of it to build stuff with. Pyrosteel is a very specific niche thing. It's like a laboratory material. And usually people don't bother experimenting more because that's enough. It's the sort of thing where you could detonate a bomb inside the room and the steel will just take it. It'll absorb the heat and you could just keep blowing stuff up in there over and over. Whereas Durasteel eventually gives. Pyrosteel is more... Durasteel goes against kinetic energy, disruptor, whatever. Pyrosteel is specifically against... energy type attacks, radiation, that sort of thing. And actually, the black boxes you found that Terminus Parasol had, that's a type of highly refined absorbent pyrosteel. She doesn't need it to be highly refined, she just needs to be good enough to build ships out of. The problem is that's... You can't just find... It's not easy to make, and... If you were to find it, it'd be found by someone else who's made it, who knows the tech. But the good thing is with Rasa, because you still have her, she's still able to build them. Sorry, say again?
Just me, but you're dropping in and out pretty bad.
Oh no, I did not know that. Hold on. Turn myself up.
I can hear you fine.
There we go. Okay. So the short story is that... Oops, that's way too loud. The short story is that she is... It's both. She either needs to get a better way to refine pyrosteel to be absorbent, or to find absorbent pyrosteel, more absorbent pyrosteel from like wreckages and stuff like that.
Okay. All right.
The last thing I was going to say, I remember now.
Oh.
She was, because you have House Rasa. She can make absorbent pyrosteel. Like she can make a Keldun class, but that's all she'd be building, because it takes her so long to. She can't build a bunch of them at once. She can build one at a time. Because she knows how to source it. but it's like it's not enough that the whole KDF could be armed in it. She just doesn't have. She doesn't know where to point people, and she frankly doesn't want to tell anyone.
And what you were saying is that it has to be built into the hull of the ship, right? It's not like you can put a layer of absorbent pyrosteel on top of.
Yeah, you have to replace it. The Durasteel is replaced with absorbent pyrosteel, which thankfully is good enough for starship combat. Because not many people are shooting kinetic lances at are firing kinetic shells at ships. So if someone starts shooting massive kinetic missiles at you, you're in trouble. But until then, wouldn't worry about it. That's what shields are for.
Okay. Don't think there's anything else worth investigating there.
Anything else Oda or Keldar wanted to look into?
I wanted to head to Station Rorik and see if I could find the Starfleet lieutenant, whose name was Garrison Westcott. Contact him and talk to him.
My internet crashed, so I'm on the phone for a moment.
Okay. Well, that's probably why I was cutting in and out. Oh, and... Oh, I don't have to type it in. So it's a reason or insight plus command or security roll, difficulty 2, assisted by might plus rep. You are benefiting from the advantage of the Fortress Station Rorik. So if you succeed, you'll have 4 bonus momentum.
Reason or insight? Plus command or security. I would like to spend a momentum for a 3rd die. Two successes off the bat. And that's the House's might plus rep, right?
Right, yep. So
Okay.
a momentum generated.
Huzzah.
You find out that Lieutenant Westcott was followed out into Bemoth Central and was summarily beaten up by various Klingons. And eventually he was rescued and brought to the medical facilities on the Fortress Station. Since the hospital in Central City isn't quite done yet. At least not for aliens anyway. So they put him on. And plus they wanted to have him under guard. Because at the time, when you look it up, they didn't realize who they had. They just knew they had a lieutenant. because his comm badge was gone and he was brutally beaten. So they didn't know who he was. You knew who to look for because you compared his biometrics with his on the security file with the biometrics in the Fortress's medical facility.
Okay, I will head down to the medical facility and see if he's awake. Oh yeah, 4 bonus momentum.
Yep. Is there anything you wish to do with that bonus momentum regarding finding him?
I would like to find out the names of the Klingons who beat him up, if possible.
You find out the names of the 4 Klingons who assaulted Westcott. Oops, that's not right. Nope. So you do know who did it. It was some warriors of House SupQit'aH, like just rank and file guys who were at the hall.
I want them to be nice.
They were nice. They didn't kill him.
I would like to have them arrested and put in jail for follow-up.
You can burn 2 of that bonus momentum to have that as an advantage that they're straight up just without a roll, they're just arrested.
Yes, I will do that.
Except the way that's less relevant to our roll. Shoo. There. You have 1 bonus momentum left.
Did I have to spend 1 to find out their names, or was that rolled into the 3 that I spent to have them arrested?
You had the 4. 1 was to find out their names. 2 was to have them arrested.
Okay.
So you have the 1 bonus plus the 2 on the table.
I believe that Oda's internet was down. Because I earned 1, so I think there are 3 on the table.
Okay.
I don't think I have anything else to spend that last 1 on.
Okay.
I would like to. Is he awake in the medical facility?
We're actually going to cut to there. I could get tokens. Copy. No, well, we're going here now. He's not there. So yes, you come to a medical facility and you find him, actually he's not on the active bed, he'd be laying on one of the other biobeds. As you walk in, you get shot. No, by a Romulan.
You don't have enough threat for that.
You're right. A Klingon surgeon walks over to you. Oh, Lo Keldar. I was told you'd be coming.
How is the patient doing?
Well, humans are weak, and it's amazing that he wasn't killed. It speaks to the skill of his enemies that he wasn't. He was brought to the brink, but only just.
Is he awake?
I can wake him.
Is there danger in doing so?
Gain a momentum. I could wake him safely if you need it. I could have just woken up with vigorous shaking. That usually works, but I do have a copy of Starfleet Medical's recommendations on rousing beaten subjects, so I should be able to concoct the relevant stimulant.
Please do so.
And goes over to our replicator, taps in the order, walks over. And he has like one of those big, scary-looking, like Klingon-looking needles, and kind of jabs it into the guy's arm and shoots him up. And Garrison kind of wakes up. Oh, everything hurts. Why am I strapped down? For your safety, don't move. I can't feel my feet. That's not good. He walks away and starts typing something into a computer. Oh, he's awake. I'll deal with his legs, sir.
Alright, I will go stand by the bed.
Well, I think my legs are really important. Ow, 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 I shouldn't shout.
You are Lieutenant Garrison Westcott?
Yes? He tries to shrink away from you, but he's strapped to a bed, so he can't really go anywhere.
And you attended the court of Jo-Oda earlier today?
Yeah. He looks at the doctor, he looks at you. The doctor injects him with something else, and he's again scanning him some more.
This is the surgeon of Station Rorik. He has been ordered to help you as much as possible. Do you know who I am?
Well... You're, Keldar, I believe. Yeah? Commander Keldar?
Yes. I am the heir of Jo-Oda, and I am the engineering officer of the Doc Chnaka.
Oh. I'm Lieutenant Westcott, Narinja Station. Engineering officer. I'm the heir to several cases of beer when I get back. Funny. Ow, ow, don't laugh. Ow.
What is this beer that you speak of?
Fermented wheat that you drink. Tastes good.
Ah, so it's like ale.
Yeah, sure.
I want you to rest assured that the people who assaulted you have been arrested.
Oh, thanks.
They disobeyed the direct orders of Council Member Kargan. What is your interest in Rorik Station and Palace SupQit'aH?
I'm just wanted to see some interesting architecture. It's all been rapidly built and very high quality. Plus, it's using the Bemoth space frame and building frame prefab blueprint style. So, you don't really see that oldest style of Klingon development in a modern era.
Do I believe he is telling the truth?
That's a good question, isn't it? Insight plus security. Opposed.
Okay.
I will note that this guy is an idiot for doing this. He's in a bed. just give straight answers, buddy.
Okay. Can I spend 1 threat and 2 momentum for 2 extra dice?
No, you're not allowed. 1 threat. Are you asking or are you telling me?
I'm telling you. Insight plus security. Yes.
He'll spend a threat.
Actually... Okay. 3 successes.
One hit, so you gain 2 momentum. You can tell that he's talking around what he's actually doing. He's not lying, but he's obviously omitting something. Very obviously.
Is the surgeon's on the other side of the room now? Has he been wandering back and forth?
He's currently looking something up on the master computer. At a distance, it looks like he's looking up something to do with human physiology, and then you can kind of see the Starfleet medical logo scrolling by as he's reading up on their files on humans.
I would like to squeeze his shin bone a little bit.
Okay. Ow.
See if he reacts.
Ow, 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 ow.
So you do still have feeling down here. That is a good sign. So I am told.
The surgeon overhearing this kind of looks over. Yeah, I just fixed that. I was trying to see how to make sure he could walk again. Thanks for the test, La. He casually just turns around and continues working.
Lieutenant Westcott, was that all that you were looking for?
Yeah, it totally was.
Squeeze a little harder.
Okay. Presence plus security. Difficulty of 1. You are basically torturing the guy, but he's strapped down and he's hurt and stuff, so not a whole lot he can do about it. Basically, you're making sure you're not accidentally breaking. It's less that you're trying to get information, but you're trying not to like break his leg or something. Because you're Klingon, you totally could do that by accident.
Spend a momentum for a 3rd die.
Okay.
Gain 1 momentum.
Cool. Roll your security plus 1 in challenge dice.
Effect.
He yells and screams for a bit because it really hurts now. But you make sure not to keep going so you break something. All right. Ow! Stop.
I will act surprised and be like, "Oh, I was merely testing to see if you could still have feeling down here." Not like feigning surprise. Like he knows that I'm not surprised.
Look. The new head of security at Narendra wanted me to ask around about this new station. What you guys were building out here. It wasn't a mission or anything. He just told me not to make a fuss about it because, well, this might happen.
Ending up in a Klingon biobed?
Yeah. Or someone testing my lower legs. He walks over, starts to inject something into his leg. Ah, no, I told him. He backs off and then stares him down. This is to make it stop hurting. Shakes his head and jabs him. Oh, thanks. Oh, I'm not helping you. He outranks me. He walks away and continues his work. What? What? But I told you.
I assure you, the surgeon is doing everything he can to help you. Your Starfleet record indicates that you served with... What was the name of the Admiral?
Azalon.
Admiral Azalon when you were an ensign?
Yeah? On the Zephyr.
I don't know what's going on in the Discord chat, but that's amusing. Do you maintain any communication with Admiral Azalon today?
Yeah? She was my captain, you know.
What is she up to today? And I would like to spend my determination point for my third value. Ask questions, but be cautious about who's listening.
Creating the advantage that he knows something when he normally wouldn't.
Sure.
Because there's no role here. He is plumb scared of you now, and you did quite a bit of stress to him. that hurt a lot, and he can't really fight back. Oh no! He spent his determination point to create an advantage.
My fault.
Give me a pad. And I can point out to you where in the record, what regulation says that I'm not allowed to speak about flag officers. Don't worry, I'll be very detailed. You get the hint from your determination and his caution that he's not lying, he's trying to answer your question, but he's being cautious too. Like, he is going to answer you, he just won't answer out loud.
I will get a pad for him to write something down.
He taps it out. And then he holds it back out to you.
I'll look at what it says.
It reads that Admiral Azalon... He doesn't know specifically what Admiral Azalon's up to, but he does know her politics. She is a very militant admiral in Starfleet, and has been talking a lot about some disturbing things about more militarizing Starfleet more, and she's been speaking with a lot of more militant Starfleet officers about something. Now, Westcott doesn't know her personally. He just served with her, but he does know that Aslan is the sort who will pour praise upon her loyalists and punish severely those who betray her. Hence why he doesn't dare say it aloud.
Okay. I will thank him for his cooperation and assure him once again that the Klingons who assaulted him will be dealt with according to Klingon law. And I will then instruct the surgeon to treat him kindly with some painkillers. I believe that the humans have a painkiller they call morphine that may be helpful in this situation.
That's how you say it. That was such a strange word.
But, and to contact Starfleet and to, well, I suppose I can maybe contact Starfleet, to have him transferred back to Starfleet Medical with our deepest condolences for his assault as soon as possible.
Presence plus command difficulty 2. Effect assisted by influence plus rep. Oh, with the House's personal condolences or your personal condolences?
The House's condolences.
Okay. Presence command difficulty 2, assisted by influence and rep of the House. If it was you personally apologizing, you'd use your rep instead of command, because that's how that's supposed to work. I forgot that it replaces stuff. But if you're using command, then that works.
Okay. I'll spend a threat and 2 momentum for 2 extra dice. Successes and the House. That. Hold on.
Ooh.
Another 2 successes from the House.
Okay. So like 4 momentum.
Can I spend that 1 floating momentum to help his medical recovery?
For 2, you could do it. So you can bring down the momentum pool to 5.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that.
So he will be. And actually, because you did that, for an additional 2 momentum, you can actually have him as a quality 0 intelligence contact. You basically you have him as a person you can contact again, and because he owes you, basically. Not just as a favor, but as a continuing asset, because you've actually done. You know who to talk to on Narinda Station.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll do that.
Okay. Goes elsewhere. He goes to Narinda. If you want him to do things, by the way, mechanically speaking, if you want to do things, usually there'll be a test involved. But if you get a favor with him, that you can get him to do stuff without having to roll. He just does it because he owes you.
Okay.
Whereas this spend is to make him a continuing intelligence asset in Starfleet.
Okay, sounds great.
New scene, so -1 since you're done talking with Westcott in the medical bay. And you found out what happened to him and where he went. Oda, do you wish to do anything at this time?
Maybe. No, Kargan's still got something to do.
I have like 2 things.
Can Oda start putting into motion the construction of a specialist refinery for this pyrosteel in the in the Yavbot system?
You can. I'm just trying to think how to mechanically work it. 'Cause I'm thinking either a high difficulty single roll or a extended task. We'll make it a high difficulty single roll. That'll be faster.
Okay.
So you need to get the relevant stuff you need, plus this, plus this. You're a house leader. This is why it's a one-off, so that means it's difficulty. I know what I can do. That's why I do it. That's why I did it on the Kismet game. So it's control plus command or engineering. Difficulty you choose. Assisted by wealth plus rep. So if you get just a quality 0, basically you'll have an advantage of having a decent facility to refine the stuff. The higher you shoot for, the more intricate the processing facility is, because you're not. It's part of it is getting Rasa to do it and your soldiers to build it, but it's also sourcing people from the Empire, even outside the Empire, for the stuff you need and buying it and having it shipped and all that.
Okay. Yeah, let's go for broke. Let's go for a difficulty 5 check.
Okay. So quality 3 advantage.
With my incredible engineering score.
Oh.
Okay. So I'm going to spend my determination. I don't think any of my values will work. I don't think I can stretch I traveled the river of blood to cover this. So,
give me a discount. I've traveled the rivers of blood.
Right. Maybe dictate 1, restore the house with honor and with glory, raise it still higher, or the gather strength part of make allies when possible and gather strength.
I'll take gather strength.
Okay, so that's dictate 4. Okay.
Oh, qualify. I'm dumb.
So there's 2. I need to get 3. So, take. Let's see. Maybe this success for the house. I got 2. I need to nail 3. I'm not rolling great. So definitely giving you 2 momentum for die 3 and 3 threat for the 4th/5th die and bold. Okay, and I am basically what I'm doing is organizing everything. Am I understanding it right?
Organizing, purchasing, making sure the right people are assigned to the right task, that sort of thing. Making sure you have the stuff people want to trade.
Okay. Can I make an argument for oh, never mind. No control command. Duh. Never mind. Okay. So persuasion or intimidation is a focus to apply.
Say that again?
Persuasion or intimidation for a focus, because I'm getting people to do things.
I'll take persuasion.
Okay. All right. So 4 dice. So I'm using control command for 15. Benefiting from House SupQit'aH. Okay, fair. Discipline is 5. Standard complication.
I'll up it by 1. Why not?
Oh.
It's okay. You didn't hit 19.
So that's 6 successes plus the 2 for my determination. So that's 8 successes. Good lord. Let me see if I get my determination back. Nope.
3, 4, 5, 6. Plus the house.
Oh, yeah.
Wealth plus rep. Oh.
12. Oh, and that's a complication, I believe.
Yep.
So I was shooting for 5. I made a total of 8. So I'll spend 2 of that to quash the complication.
Okay.
And so that should be 1 momentum gain total.
That sounds right. So you now have a resource advantage of having a absorbent pyrosteel refining facility, or facilities, I should say, in the Yavat system.
Okay. That's quality 3.
Oh, 3. Yep. I got it wrong twice. Right.
Okay. And I'll turn it back over to Kargan.
All right.
Hmm.
I'm still drinking beer and just having a nice time. Speaking of which, I have to replace my beer. Give me just a moment and I will be back recruiting mercenaries for our cause.
No, not mercenaries. Scholars. Okay, Keldar, go do the things. Thanks for playing.
Pause for beer opening.
Little Keldar gets tied up in dealing with Starfleet for a while. As a bit of a minor diplomatic incident comes out of it, but it's nothing Keldar can't handle.
Fair.
All right. let's recruit some nerds. I'm sorry, scholars.
From which faction are you going to try to grab scholars from?
Well, we have a few to choose from. I think I'd have most luck with Andorians, save for Klingons. Given how House Rasa treats Romulans these days, I won't ask the Romulans. And I'll make an effort to speak Andorian to the Andorians.
Ooh.
An effort, not entirely just speaking to them.
If I could find it, there it is. Alright, so we're looking at a similar thing as Oda. Except you will be doing reason or insight plus command or con, assisted by house influence plus rep influence. Yeah, it doesn't. You're not buying them. You're trying to ask them to help you.
Is this me or Oda?
This is you. You're basically looking into it and trying to find the relevant scholars who are even worth talking to. And once you find them and offer it to them, it's an easy sell. It's just a matter of finding out who's worth your time.
All right. Recent command or reason con. It doesn't really matter. It's the same amount.
Okay. How high difficulty are you shooting? How high quality scholars are you looking for?
Diff 4 might be a good idea. I'm gonna buy another die. Pick it. I'll buy 2 more dice. So I'm up to 4 with momentum.
Okay.
Klingon politics for focus.
Yeah, I'll take it. Because you're probably going through the actual like diplomatic channels that the Klingons have with the Federation.
I've also added a value that might be able to help me when this roll goes badly. Yeah, the value of ice still in my veins.
So you have a connection with Andor.
Yeah. Complication range
20.
Here's the house. In theory.
Oof.
You're short one by the look of it.
Cautious command to reroll the 16.
Okay. Oh no.
Oh god, fuck. I still flows in my vein.
There you
Yeah.
What do I do with that then?
You could
Re-roll, but-
re-roll, yeah.
God fucking damn it!
Oh no.
Oh man, the dice gods are against you.
Yeah, they don't want me to succeed this.
Well, okay, so here's a question, GM. So he was shooting for a 4, but he got 3. So does that still give him a +1 quality scholar, or
No, because he tried to talk. He was trying to get with certain types of scholars.
fair?
And actually, a complication arises.
Might be because I was speaking Andorian. Oh, could I have an assistance of from my secretary?
Ooh, I'll take those threat back. You could, yep, you totally could. That's why you have them.
Her.
So
So it's
this person.
It's so Tigrasti. Tigrasti. Yeah. Recent command of 11. With a focus in Klingon politics.
I'll take it.
The fates are not with
Damn
you
it.
today, man.
Well, I fucking tried.
You did.
Yup.
You did.
Andorians are especially icy these days.
Spending for a complication.
Jeez.
You in fact are able to get scholars.
Cool.
Unfortunately, they are quality 0. So
What?
yes, you get promised, and they say, yeah, we'll send our best people. Oh yeah, they know a lot about this sort of thing, and you get like master students and bachelor degree holders of history who, thankfully, they still know something about Klingon history and SupQuit'aH in particular, but yeah, they're not the professors and professors emeritus and so on that you were trying to get, but you get some people to show up on Kronos for you.
I'll take the names of whoever I spoke to and put them on my hit list.
But you can give me an opposed insight security roll. You, yeah.
That's not a good roll.
So, your secretary can assist you with this, by the way.
Mm.
Yes, please.
See if they're agents of Sharir.
Odell, would you mind rolling for my secretary?
Sure.
Do I have any focus that applies?
Something to do with security, observation, intelligence work, underground, that sort of thing.
Intimidation?
I'll have to say no to that.
Close combat?
Surprisingly, no.
Klingon politics?
Yeah, I'll take that a complication.
Or do you want me to add another focus of observation?
I would take the observation focus straight, yeah.
I'll add it.
They're in this book.
Roll20's doing that thing where it's not letting me open a character sheet. What's her score?
For what?
For SupQuit'aH.
Insight security, I think.
12.
Okay.
It's something.
I don't
Well-
know how that's 0 successes, but
Oh, well, it's a 1 target, so... But no, you rolled a 3, so...
I see what I did.
Oh, no!
Wow, that's a good intelligence agent right there.
Six hits. Versus your 2. There's no real way to dig your way out of that, unfortunately.
Ugh, I am frustrated.
Let's fight.
On the plus side, I get less threat. I only get 3 threat.
Well, the dice aren't in my favor today. I apologize.
It's not your fault. It happens to all of us, one day or another.
Yeah, it's the programming of Roll20. I tell you.
It's rigged against you. They knew you were rolling today. No,
This is a hate crime.
So, when the Andorian scholars come to Kronos to be processed and look through, and you take down their names, and you get to talk with them to make sure they actually know what they're talking about, and they do. By the end of the talk, you find out that you get a call from the security forces on Kronos that a bunch of Orions that were assigned to be your bodyguard were found in the streets, badly injured.
Damn it. That's not good.
You then get a message from Lord Singer Sphere.
Message from...
Lord Singer Sphere.
Ah.
As she calls you over subspace.
Lorsinger.
Representative, I just got a very disturbing Dead Man Switch message. Apparently, my friends in the, from Orion, ran into some people who were trying to break into your home. They're able to fight them, but unfortunately they were, and throw them off, but unfortunately they've been, if this message was sent to me this way, then that means that they were badly injured in their mission. I would recommend that you have security check out your home on Kronos and stay somewhere else.
I'll do so. I'll send SupQuit'aH warriors to look into it and stay at the House of Martok. If they'll have me.
I'm fairly certain Martok wouldn't mind showing off his vineyards. She shakes her head. His lore singer has been bragging endlessly.
Sounds well. I'll bring your regards.
Actually, could you get me a bottle of Martok's, some blood wine? I think the Jo would like it.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
One for you as well?
I can afford it. Sure, why not?
It's a gift.
Oh, well, in that case, definitely. She smiles.
Anything for co-workers and family members.
Oh, I got the report from those scholars you wanted. Should we bring them to... Do you want us to bring them to Bemoth too, or do you want to vet them some more? The timing on this is strange to me, but... The Dead Man Switch message doesn't say anything about Andorians fighting them.
I'm not sure. Let's vet them a little bit more, see if anything happens.
Alright.
I will continue our quest to find lore keepers of House SupQuit'aH.
Vulcans. Get Vulcans.
Well,
They study everything.
So boring though.
Yeah, but they study everything.
You I get Vulcans, you get Vulcans. I don't deal with those pointy-eared bastards.
Do if I tell you to.
Fine. You're not my real dad.
I'm your supervisor.
That's not right. Hold on.
You're not my real supervisor.
Presence or control plus
Did I just
security.
type as a plant? Oh boy.
Pose there. Sorry. Presence or control plus security. Difficulty opposed. Assisted by your house's might plus rep. As you aren't in any danger because you have Martok as an ally. You're able to get safety and sanctuary among his warriors, and attacking the Chancellor of the Empire is a way for the whole Empire to be at war with you. So no one's gonna mess with you. But this is you sending out a bulletin and a warning to find the people who tried to bomb your home.
All right, fair. I'll add another die with momentum.
We have none.
I'll add it with threat then.
Okay. Spending that threat plus 2 more to buy some dice.
Hell.
What? They don't want to be caught? They get caught. They're at the end of a firing line.
So is the house assisting with this?
Yep. With might plus rep.
Okay.
Presence control.
Presence or control plus security. The first one I screwed up.
Comp number 20.
Right. Okay.
So it looks like you got 4 there, Kargan. Plus 1 for the house for 5.
Two, 3, 4, 5.
I'm sure I shouldn't be adding cautious security into this.
You would need to do bold since
Yeah.
you paid for it with threat.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Bold security I could do. Should I?
Well, Oda has both bold security and command. It does kind of come in handy as Klingons, honestly.
Yeah.
It's up to you. What do you want to do?
I've added bold security.
Okay. So you're going to re-roll that 20? Yep. This is why I love creation and play, because you can figure out what sort of stuff you're going to run into. Oh, darn it.
Nice. Creation and play is a good thing, and you should add it to your game.
Okay, looks like
Speaking
one momentum.
to the chat. Okay, I'm gonna add this to most of my games. I think it's a good idea.
What is a good idea again? Sorry.
Yeah, creation and play.
Oh yeah. That's probably what I'm gonna create in the future. Use in the future. It's a good. I like that creation set. So what you find out, what Kronos' security forces find out with your direction and with SupQuit'aH warriors prowling the streets, they eventually find out that it was actually the Andorian scholars actually hired some criminals to try to kill you. Further investigation finds out that they were themselves criminals. They did try to escape in a battle, but because you re-rolled the complication, they were captured.
I'll personally execute them.
So you're gonna kill them off?
I'd like to let them reclaim some of their honor in death, but they'll have like dakchangs instead of bat'leths.
Okay.
Or ice picks. So I'll take this risk to my help to make sure that they honor themselves and their families in death. Following Oda's way of doing things.
And new scene as you deal with those false scholars. The days go by. Many activities are done in mustering the power of House SupQit'aH. You get reports from those away, both your representative and your cousin off in. So you know what they've been up to. So the two people are able to attend your next big audience. That isn't just your day-to-day attending to the realm sort of stuff. Law Tarkin and Lord Stringer Sasir stand in the audience pit. Law Tarkin, is there any news from your Zhou?
From Rasa? She has informed us that she had stolen it from Commander Ventham, and has, I do not believe that she may be the lead that you're looking for.
Is she still fighting with these Romulans?
He rolls his eyes. Yes. She is, and I cannot guarantee that I can stop her. But she is intent on developing and taking this technology. She says that it will eventually take them some time before they could copy the same stealth cloak that she has developed, but she is still somewhat in contact with Vintham, though she tries to neutralize as much of his troops as possible.
So it was not the cloak design for the Rasa cloak was not stolen directly, but rather was a derivative of technology and information that she acquired from the Romulans.
Yes, that is right.
Well, fair enough. As for her feud with this Vintham, she is a house leader and a Klingon to boot.
I have much to do to ensure our reputation remains through her activities.
She has brought no dishonor on your house for this matter in any case. Just ensure that in any further confrontations with Romulans, it's the Romulans who die.
This is true.
I have a suggestion, if you may, Joe.
Of course.
We may wish to, if they wish to take their battle to us, we may wish to take the battle to him in the Empire, in the Romulan Empire. I perceive that this Romulan may be a continuing threat to Rasa, which, if he gathers enough allies on his end, it may be more than Rasa on its own could handle. Romulans are skilled at shadow fighting. She shakes her head. Of spycraft. As you notice, she slipped into an Orion way of saying it, and the translator kind of caught it weird.
Right. Are you suggesting an incursion into Romulan space?
Should your staff believe it feasible? And should you wish it, of course, Joe.
I will take that under advisement. GM, what's the just quickly, if you can, what's the frequency of raids into Romulan space, and or vice versa?
Romulans and the Romulan Empire and the Klingon Empire are not at war. However, suspiciously along the border, there's a lot of shooting that happens every so often. It's always an accident. Someone happened to go that way. It was a pirate. He got lost. So, it's a lukewarm war. Lots of raiding, but no outright seizing of assets. It's just kicking each other's teeth in.
Right, so small forces slipping back and forth across the border and, wreaking havoc is neither unusual or enough to cause a flat-out massive imperial conflagration.
Yeah, the High Council the Chancellor hasn't ordered a war in any of these incidents. It's come close sometimes, because Romulans do some very, very not good stuff. But, it's always been just enough that he's not willing to go to war over it. A retaliatory raid, and that's what happens. The Romulans do something, Klingons retaliate, or the Klingons do something, the Romulans retaliate, and it just kind of goes on back and forth. But not a full mobilization from either side. There's not enough of a defense. That would require attacking a major military facility or bombing civil populaces, that sort of thing. It'd have to be if it's military versus military or spy versus spy. They tend to. You guys, both sides seem to be okay with it. It's driving the Federation nuts because they're trying to. It makes the corridor between the two of you very dangerous sometimes. So that's why Starfleet vessels have to transport things through sometimes.
Okay, that's I'll put that in the back pocket. We can look into that maybe next time. The feasibility of it. Gorsinger, I understand that our first attempt to find you scholars from outside the Empire did not go as well as we might have hoped. Fear not.
We cross-cut to Kargan beheading one of them.
Yeah.
Nice. Fear not, however. We will find you the scholars you seek. It may just take a little bit longer than we originally anticipated. But we will spread the words of SupQuit'aH as wide as possible.
As you command, Joe. I am glad that my friends from Orion were able to help the representative. They should be ready. New guardians should be at his side before too long.
Yes, they have served SupQuit'aH well, and SupQuit'aH will not be. SupQuit'aH will not be. I don't really want to use that word. SupQuit'aH will reward them more than appropriately.
And
I'll seek their bonuses or whatever.
Control plus command, difficulty 2, assisted by your wealth plus reputation.
Pull up sheet again.
Might be a fair choice to allocate one of our wealth points to make sure that Orions don't stop sending people our way to help us.
Let's see what we can accomplish here. I'll give you a threat for third die. And...
Increasing. Ooh.
Go ahead. I rolled the wrong thing. Go ahead.
Oh, increasing the difficulty by 1.
Okay. What exactly am I doing here?
You're ensuring that they that there's an extra reward going out to Orion bodyguards that Cecier's bringing in.
So, intimidation or persuasion with my accountants, I guess?
I'll take persuasion. It's more a long distance. You're persuading them through wealth to help you.
Okay. So there's 5, and then the house's wealth is 8 now?
Sounds right.
12. Yeah. Six. So.
All right, so 3 momentum generated.
Yep.
And actually, what you've done, because you did that, cut briefly to here. So these guys are going to come back. The reason you can keep getting them is because you're helping Cecier's personal mission, because it's really helping. It's because if she uplifts the lore of the house, that helps her out as an individual. So she's pulling some of her personal strings, but you've increased the quality of the bodyguards to be a little better since they realize they're going to get paid instead of just buying favors back and forth.
Cool.
You briefly during council you speak with some of your financial advisors. Not that there's a ton of them, and not that it's a glorious job, but for a great house, you need one. You need a few. There's a lot of stuff you have. Even though your wealth isn't great, it requires a great geez, you have 4 bonus momentum because of the palace.
Oh. Lord, I don't even know exactly what to do with that in this case. Any way I can spend them to bump up the quality another level?
You can bump up the quality with at least 2 of it, yeah. Basically, instead of having higher quality ones per se, you have another way to measure quality is numerics. So there's not just a few bodyguards, there's now a bunch of bodyguards being hired, as you're able to get a bulk deal on them. Like, literally, they call it that. It's like, no, if you buy us in bulk, if you hire us in bulk, it's easier for us to spread the pay around. It's
Okay.
like,
I mean, with Orions, it's buy us in bulk.
Let's see, and this was me making sure that they were well paid for their trouble. So I've got 2 more. What kind of advantage could I create in relation to that same role? Could I use that to give some kind of advantage to Cecile for future dealings with the Orions? Because she's kind of the one who made this arrangement, but as an agent for the house. But then the house is treating people well, so maybe the next time we need to reach out to the Orions for something, she has a standard advantage.
Yeah, I'll take that. I know how to word that.
Okay. My God, I'm gonna have to take another screenshot now.
There we go. You would think there'd be a money bag one in here, but no. Basically, you've authorized Cecile to be more, to not need to check in with you when dealing with them. She can just she can just deal with them through the palace functionaries.
Cool.
So that's a resting advantage she can have if you want her to do something with them, or in getting new people, that sort of thing. Much has been done in your name, Jo, and our enemies are known to us. I would recommend, Jo, that we meet once more for a sortie against one of our foes.
Agreed. We cannot afford to let them rest, or to think that we have forgotten them.
Shall we attack the Romulans as suggested by the Law Singer?
I think the War Council shall meet in the morning to determine our best route of attack.
Some of the Klingons in the audience start talking among themselves excitedly.
However we strike, it will be a glorious campaign. And we will bring honor to the house and to the warriors of SupQuit'aH.
Kapla.
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 Law.
And with that, House SupQuit'aH has made its moves and made some friends, made some enemies, killed some people, because that's how SupQuit'aH rolls. A little bit of torture.
Yeah. Prisoners? No.
Next time there'll be a war council to decide where the next strike of SupQuit'aH will be. But for now, for those of you watching, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and we will see you next time.